obviously the Sky really had to attempt to shut that one down. But I'm tanking for Blanco as it snakes around again. Well, this parkour does encourage certain attacks. Of course, it's up and down all day. There are plenty of wooded areas, a lot of unsighted areas. If you get away and out of sight, it can make it a little more difficult for those behind.
Well, Astana came up to the front earlier on, and together with Team Sky, they brought an original six-man breakaway with Kreuzvik, Berard, Bilbao, Brando, Burkhardt and Reza. They brought it back and thinking, like yesterday, it's going to split up and give them an opportunity. And yesterday's climb was very difficult towards the finish. This climb is less so, but it's short, it's steeper, it's really going to hurt the legs. And you know, this stage today, 181 kilometres, and I'm expecting a fairly big bunch finish, but we'll have to wait and see, because there's certainly a lot of riders and teams got something to prove and are thinking of a stage win today.
You are watching live coverage of the Tour de Romandie. We'll be back with the day's final 32 kilometers, 20 miles, right after this.
Weekend long.
Welcome back to beIN Sports exclusive coverage of Day 4, Stage 3 at the Tour de Romandie. It began with a 181-kilometer race. We're down to the final 29. We rejoin the race in progress.
People will want to be on the front here as they're going to come through to this sprint. Intermediate sprint approaching with 24.5 kilometers to go, and it really is quite a dangerous one actually. A couple of big corners, and you take one sort of 90-degree corner and the sprint comes 200 meters after that. Here are a succession of 180 turns. You get big warnings on the road here with plenty of time for the riders. Slows them down into the corner, make sure they don't have to bunch and concertina up, and plenty of them will sprint out of it again. So for the minute, Roriga with his 10 seconds is getting little moments where he's out of sight of the peloton. Gap begins to grow to 11. The pace in general has been very, very high today. A very, very fast first hour. And at the moment, they're on time to make it within the faster prediction that is in the row book given out to all the teams, journalists, and everybody present at this race. It was a fast finish last time we were in Payerne. 2006 was the fourth arrival in this city which is in the Vaud canton of Switzerland, just on the east of the Romandie region where the Tour de Romandie takes place. Robbie McEwen, the Australian sprinter, was the last winner here. Had stages all the way since the 50s though. Ugo Kobli, the great Swiss rider, was the first couple of winners here. Inside 26 kilometers remaining to the line. Payerne is our start and destination today. Just Thomas Roriga out there in the break. 11 seconds, and it's nicely strung out here. Sort of the calm before the storm. Next attacks after this next sprint, you'd certainly expect them on the next climb. Sprint coming up though in just a kilometre's time. Just down this hill we go through the banner of 1K to the sprint. Might start to see some of the teams who have people in the sprint's classification coming to the fore here. There's the banner at 500 metres towards the sprint. You can just see at the base of the picture there, big right-hand turn, then another right, and then it's into that sprint. I certainly didn't like the look of that today, Brian. Perhaps a little dangerous for you?
Yeah, for me, a little dangerous. I know a few people were talking about it, but coming up now to the 250 to go, and we've got two right-hand corners within the last 200 metres with Movistar now chasing hard. They want to bring it all back together. They're thinking again, like yesterday, that this next third category climb, which comes in about 5-6 kilometres time, is going to be as difficult as yesterday's was.
Thomas Rohriger then inside the right-hand turn here, and you'll be surprised how quickly you see the banner. There we go. That is absolutely bizarre. I'm not sure who's in charge of planning that, but they might want to be a little worried for their job. Deary, deary me. So Rohriger takes the full points for the sprint. Movistar clean up the rest, but that's not going to affect too much the standings as far as Matthias Brendel is concerned. He leads the sprint jersey and will be wearing green tomorrow. 2 more sprints on the final stage, but when you look at them with Julien Bérard, who is 11 points behind, the positioning of the sprints tomorrow, Brian, are quite towards the end, and tomorrow will be well into the GC action. Too much into the GC action for Messrs Bérard and Brendel to compete, you think?
Yeah, Brandel's won the sprint jersey before in this race, as you've mentioned in previous days, and I think with an 11-point advantage, it looks like he could be on course for a second win in the sprints competition, which is very good for the IAM team.
IAM Cycling came at the start of this week looking for a little bit of protagonism. There's Pablo Lastras on the front, just in front of Vladimir Karpets for Movistar. Alejandro Valverde safely tucked in very close to the wheel of Chris Froome. He's been in good form and it's going to be a man to watch tomorrow when we get to the expected general classification battle. Orica Green Edges have men involved. Marco Marcato could be another name to watch today. I know we've mentioned him in the last few days. Francesco Cavazzi, it's another of those days, one of those types of riders maybe, if they can get over the top. Michael Albazzini, another man on the left-hand side of your shot there is Moreno Moser, right on the wheel of the man we highlighted on the graphic, Uri Kites Bravo, who's still in the pink jersey. One more thought for him today. Do we think he's got enough energy to come out and have a look for more King of the Mountains points here?
For me, he's going to give it a go. He has to, with Burkhardt getting in the break earlier on. And Burkhardt is a big lump of a lad, and tomorrow it's definitely not going to suit him. But for Bravo in the pink jersey in the left-hand side, he is now provisionally 1 point behind Burkhardt. So in this third category climb, he'll want to try and get in the top 3 to take that jersey back. And that's why he's moving up in the left-hand side with the help of one of his teammates.
Climb about to begin. Roberto Ferrari there, still in this group, and he'd be a very, very interesting bet if things got back together and in a bunch towards the end. Interested to see if anything happens as far as the overall classification is concerned on this climb. Just begins a little up the road with 22 kilometres to go. There is one small section at 15%. Lasts around 600-700 metres as we see Thomas Rohriger again. Last year involved with the Leopard Trek team. Of course merged into Radio Shack. He's a former Team Milram man as well. Previously done well in the Bayern Rundfahrt, which is the tour of the Bavaria region. Also the Tour of Austria has been a race which he has excelled at recently. Has ridden the Giro 4 times. Never ridden the Tour de France, and has had a do not finish back in 2010. On the Vuelta a España. Experienced rider nonetheless. Well, going back to that GC battle and to see if anything will happen here. Think back to yesterday, think back to Team Sky and how Chris Froome and Richie Porte felt a little isolated really. I was looking at the start and the front of that peloton there. Sky had 3 riders there. Movistar had as many as 5 jerseys around Alejandro Valverde.
Well, they noticed yesterday with the attack starting on that final climb. You can see the final climb up towards the left hand of our screen at the moment. And
just in that valley there.
Yeah, they're thinking, they take heart from yesterday. I've seen Chris Froome, Richie Porte and David Lopez isolated, and that's why they've come to the front. They want to attack this final climb. It reminds me more of a climb in the Limburg area, something we would see in Amstel Gold. Drags up, turns 180 degrees back on itself and goes up 15% for about 600-700 metres and then drags over towards the top. They certainly look as if they're going to give it a go, but I don't think it's long enough, and I think this race is going to come back together after the climb.
Vladimir Karpitz driving things at the front for Movistar. Interesting, we touched on the overall there. Everybody who is interested has suddenly come to the front. We've had Blanco gather their men around Robert Hirsink. Megaformer Quickstep wanted to stay and keep their stage-winning possibilities out the way. And of course Radio Shack looking after Robert Kieselowski. This is Josh Edmondson towards the back, who came over asking where the start was this morning. Got a little lost on his way to sign in. Anthony Chateau hanging out the back as well, just gripping on the coattails of this big group. Number 53 for Garmin is Rohan Dennis. Remember, they'll be looking at Andrew Talansky here, second in the overall at the minute. Now, just at the top of your picture with 20.7 kilometers to go, you can see the start of that climb. See the real start. The road has already been going uphill for 1.5 kilometers. Nice and wide here, but it does start to thin out. You can see a big bunch, all interested in getting things back together again, as we saw Thomas Ruhriger being swallowed up and putting their main men ready to attack. We didn't really expect to see any attacks on the yellow jersey yesterday, but it was a little more difficult than most were expecting. Chris Froome at the minute is looking fairly isolated there. Here we go, the climb to Chable, third category, up to 600 metres, averaging at around 6, 7, 8%, but there are small sections, Brian, up to 15 here, once they make this big right-hand turn that's going to come quite abruptly.
Yeah, we are on the main road, and everybody just pushing and shoving to try and get a good position. They don't believe the categorisation of a lot of these climbs, and Tony Martin comes towards the top. In about 50, 100 metres, Pinotti now gets dropped at the back of this group, puffing and blowing. So not a good day for Marco Pinotti and BMC, losing Pinotti out the back of this group, and Adam Blythe a wee bit earlier on. But yeah, we're coming up to this right-hand corner, double backing yourself, and then it's uphill, very steep, so it's all about position. You don't want to get caught out.
Kenyuk and Edmondson being dropped off there. This now is Pablo Lastras, who we saw at the front guiding things for Movistar. Thomas Ruhriger also now paying for his earlier efforts. Inside the last 20 kilometres. This is the big right-hand turn, and this is where the 15% section begins. Lasts around 500, 600, 700 metres maybe. Blanco in control at the front. BMC have had Steve Morabito in excellent form this week. He really lit things up yesterday, and is 32 seconds off the overall going into the big mountain day tomorrow. Tony Martin for Omega Pharma Quickstep. Man who can certainly climb and has won week-long stage races before. Just think back to Paris-Nice. Froome with Port just behind him, but he's the only teammate left. Valverde still keeping his powder fairly dry. Alan Marangoni is the man being dropped off the back here for Cannondale. Euskaltel, Adrian Saez. Froome just behind him, and not too far away for Lampre is Damiano Cunego. Cunego wearing 111. Just to the right of him in the pink and blue Lampre jersey, he is company with Simone Stortoni, a very faithful lieutenant in the Lampre ranks. Johan Schott there for I Am Cycling. So looking forward to see if he can get involved tomorrow. And here comes the attack from Gasparotto. Attempts to follow him straight away. I think it's Manuele Mori. Gasparotto's been so active this week. He said he was feeling good ahead of the time trial. And in fact, it's Stortoni that's gone with him. Two Italians, Astana and Lampre, represented by Gasparotto and Stortoni. Gasparotto, remember, second in the sprint yesterday.
Well, we're over the worst part of the climb. It kind of drags up over the top. Won't be long until we get the top of this climb, probably in the 400-500 metres. Sky now taking control of the front of this race. They don't want anybody to go, and The man that was second yesterday, Gasparotto, very disappointed at just missing out in the sprint, trying to do something